Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're looking at our second LM set deck. We're going to look at Sakuyamon because we have the new Maid mode ace and we do have scrambles. So, starting with our eggs, we're going to run 4 copies of EX2 Viximon. When you use an option with a cost of 2 or more, you're going to draw a card. This is just the best egg for this deck because we use lots and lots of options that have cost 2 or more, so it's going to be a free draw engine. We're going to go 4 copies of BT17 Renamon. On play, you reveal top 3. You get a Kyubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon, and then a Rika or an option with cost 2 or more. The rest go bottom deck. This is great for grabbing literally any of your pieces that you could need. The only thing this is not going to grab is your Renamon. So this also has an inheritable when you use an option of cost 2 or more. One of your opponent's Digimon gets security -1 until the end of their turn. Great defensive tool and stops your opponent from getting quite a bit of chip damage in over the course of the game. We're going to go 3 copies of EX2 Renamon. On play, reveal top 4. Add a Kyubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon, and 1 Rika to your hand. So this digs 1 deeper, but does not grab you plugins. And then it has an inheritable that gains you a memory when you use an option with cost 2 or more. I think this is a great complement to the really defensive security -1 because it's going to help you extend your plays and get more value for just digivolving up the stack and using options. Then we're going to go 3 copies of the EX4 Renamon. On play until the end of your opponent's turn, 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less can't attack. This also has the inheritable that gains you a memory when you use an option card of 2 or more. We really like that inheritable, so I want some redundancy in it and make sure that it is the inheritable we see most of the time. And then we want to use the BT17 Renamon as an on-play searcher if we can. For our level 4s, we're going to go 4 copies of the BT7 Kyubimon. When digivolving, if you don't have Rika, you get to play a Rika from your hand without paying the cost, and the inheritable is going to dole out the security -1. In this deck, we have the possibility of high rolling into 3 Rikas on 1 stack, and we want to try and make sure that we can do that because our top end gets really, really strong the more Rikas we have in play. And with scrambles now, the BT17 Rika has the ability to warp us into a Sakuyamon as well, so being able to get Rikas on board is going to be really powerful in this deck. Then we have 4 copies of the EX2 Kyubimon. When digivolving, you reveal top 3, and you add an option with plugin in its name to your hand. The rest go bottom deck in any order, and this inheritable is going to dole out -2k DP when you use an option of cost 2 or more. So this goes hand in hand with the Rika. This is going to find you an option, which is really important in this deck because that is how we get value in this deck, is by using options. So this is going to dig you for options specifically, and the -2k can help finish off any bodies that you have already applied DP reduction to, or any small bodies that are sitting on the board that need to be dealt with so that they don't get chip damage in. We have 2 copies of EX4 Yokomon. This is treated as QB, and it evos on Renamon for 2, so you don't have to worry about the 3-cost evo. On play and when digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, 1 of your Digimon gets blocker. This is just a great way to stop your opponent from getting damage in. We have ways to play out level 4 and lower Digimon, so we have ways to get this blocker for free on one of our stacks. So it's a really great ability, and you should not sleep on it. This also has the inheritable that doles out -2k DP for the turn when you use an option. Again, just more ways to pick off small bodies or add up that DP reduction effects. Then for our level 5s, we have 2 copies of the BT17 Taomon. This has barrier, and when digivolving, you may use 1 option card with plugin in its name, or is yellow from your hand with the cost reduced by 2. This is fantastic, not just for the ability to use a plugin option, but also because this is a free way to get into your scrambles or your trainings for free because it reduces the cost by 2. When attacking, if this Digimon has Sakuyamon in its name, you get to use an option card that has plugin in its name or is yellow from your hand with the cost reduced by 2. It's basically just the same when digivolving effect, but when attacking, as long as you're Sakuyamon. Great value, just going to help you get your options down on the board without necessarily paying for them. But then we have 4 copies of EX2 Taomon. This is the reason we're only going 2 on the BT17, and it's because, like I said, getting lots of Rikas is really important for this deck, and I want to make sure that the main level 5 we are seeing is the one that plays us a Rika for free. Also, this does not specify that you have to not have a Rika in play to get the Rika, so even if you already have a Rika, 2 Rikas, 3 Rikas, you can get a 4th, a 5th, however many you want, as long as you evo into this out front. The inheritable is also going to give -2k, so again, more ways to give that -2k. Just in the stack alone, it's possible to dole out -6k, which is actually really substantial when you consider that a lot of your other DP reduction effects on your level 6s and on your plugins are for 6k, so you might wind up giving up -12k to -18k, somewhere in that range, and it becomes a really, really strong inheritable. We have 1 copy of the EX4 Taomon to round it out. On play, when digivolving, return 1 of your opponent's Digimon with 6k DP or less to the hand. This does not delete, so there are some situations where this might come up and bouncing the hand is more powerful than actually deleting, so that's why we have this at 1, and the inheritable is still going to give -2k, so it is still a great inheritable. Also, this digivolves on 3 from Kyubimon, so we don't have to worry about the 4-cost evo on a level 4. Moving on to level 6s, we have a really diverse level 6 pool, and that kind of shows you how much room you have to play with Sakuyamon. I think it is a super fun deck because of that. But we're going to start with 2 copies of the BT10 Sakuyamon Maid Mode. This evos on a level 5 for 3 or a level 6 for 2. When Digivolving, you use an option card with plugin in its name or that's yellow and has a play cost of 5 or less from the hand, and then place that option card used with this effect on top of your security face down instead of placing it in your trash. So basically use a plugin or an option and then place it face down in your security. So super good already. And then when attacking, you can evo into Sakuyamon in your hand for a cost of 1, ignoring its Digivolution requirements. Now what this does is basically makes your top end live again after you evo into a Sakuyamon by letting you use more plugins, recover into security, and then put you back into Sakuyamon to trigger your Sakuyamon when Digivolving effects. So it is a great extender in this deck, and that's why we have it at 2. We have 2 copies of BT17 Sakuyamon. This one has Barrier and can evo from Maid Mode for 1, otherwise it's 3 on a level 5. When Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6k DP for the turn. Then from your hand and without paying the cost, you use a 5 cost or lower option that has plugin in its name or is yellow. When you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more until the end of your opponent's turn, their effects can't return this Digimon to hand or deck. So we are running the plugin that will also make this immune to deletion effects, and we have Barrier, and now it won't be bounced to hand or deck. This is going to be a really, really difficult boss monster to remove without something like De-Digivolve. Next, we have 1 copy of the EX2 Sakuyamon at evos for 3 on a 5. When Digivolving, unsuspend one of your Digimon, and for each tamer you have in play, return 1 option card with the plugin in its name from your trash to the hand. So this has some really obvious synergies with the security attack +1 plugin, with the Rika that lets you use an option when attacking. You're going to be able to unsuspend this, and if you get lots of Rikas on board, you're going to be able to grab lots of options back and keep your deck really, really, really active. Your turn, when you use an option card with cost 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3k for the turn. Not quite as powerful as our other DP reduction effects in our level 6 pool, but the ability to recover back options I think is a worthwhile trade, and that's why I have it at 1. Now for our new Sakuyamon Maid Mode Ace, this is 3 on a 5. It can evo on Sakuyamon for 1. It is a blast evo, and on play and when Digivolving, you place a yellow tamer card or 1 single color use cost 5 or lower option card from your hand as your top security. So this is basically Maid Mode. It does not let you use the option. You just put a tamer option on top of your security, and when an option card is used or security stacks are added to, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6k for the turn. So you're going to evo, you place a tamer or an option in security, and if you place an option in security, you're going to give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 6k for the turn. So this has some flexible uses. Being able to put a tamer in security is actually really good. If you whiff really hard on your stack and you don't get a Rika, you can blast into this, put a Rika in security, and then when the opponent swings, you get your free tamer value. Otherwise, you're using this to rig your top security card with an option and then get minus 6k on the opponent. Hopefully they crash in security, or you might have blocker on this in some way, and you can actually just block and take out their Digimon that way. For our last level 6, we have a copy of EX4-Kazuhamon. This Digimon is also treated as being Sakuyamon, so your main modes can still go on top. It evos for 3 on a level 5, and then when Digivolving, use an option card with cost 5 or less in your hand without paying the cost. And when you use that option card, you're going to play a Taomon or level 4 or lower yellow or blue Digimon from its sources without paying the cost. Obviously, Yokomon is a great target for this. One of the Taomons is great because now you can threaten acing into Sakuyamon Maid Mode on top of that Taomon, and you can also play your Renamon Searchers, obviously, with this. So this is just a really flexible card, and it has a lot of application in this deck. That's why I feel it's valuable at least 1 copy. For our level 7 pool, we do just have 1 card, and that is the ShineGreymon Burst Mode. This is the missing piece to what I was talking about with getting 3 Rikas in 1 stack. When Digivolving and on play, you can play a Tamer card from your hand without paying the cost. Then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5k for the turn for each of your Tamers. When attacking, by suspending up to 2 of your yellow Tamers, for each one, this Digimon gets security attack +1 for the turn. This is just fantastic. You can basically get 3 Rikas on board, dole out minus 15k, and then on your next turn, you're threatening 2 checks with this guy. It's just really strong. For our option pool, per usual, this is going to be somewhat subjective. You are going to be able to switch around your plugin ratios to what suits you and what suits your play group. This is what I like and I am comfortable with. So 1 copy of Defense Plugin C. While you have a Tamer, you get to ignore color requirements. That's how all of your plugins work. Until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon gets Blocker and Reboot, and then can't be deleted by your opponent's effect. So I really like this with the BT17 Sakuyamon because now we have Blocker, we have Reboot, we can't be bounced to hand or deck, we have Barrier, and we can't be deleted by effects. You can basically only de-Digivolve me, and that is the only way you're going to get past my Sakuyamon. Otherwise, it's going to stick on board. And then we can threaten the ShineGreymon Ace on top of that, and we have a Blocker, Reboot, basically immune ShineGreymon Ruin Mode. I mean, it can still be bounced because you lose the Sakuyamon protection effect that way, but you're going to be bigger than them once you apply the DP reduction, and you're going to have Blocker and Reboot. So that's going to be really, really strong. Security effect says you can reveal top 3 of your deck and play 1 Digimon card with a play cost of 4 or less among them without paying its cost. The rest go bottom, and then this goes to hand. So this is great to rig into security with Maid Mode Ace because you're going to get to reveal top 3 and potentially put a Renamon into play off of that, and now you have the ability to warp into it with your Warp Rika at the start of your turn. We have 2 copies of Plug-in S. You're going to draw one, and then you can Digivolve one of your Digimon into a card in your hand that can Evo for a cost of 3 or less without paying its cost. So it's effectively cheating an Evo if you use this without paying its cost, which you will be doing for the most part in this deck. Security effect reveals top 3 of your deck, and you add a Digimon to your hand. The rest go bottom deck in any order. We have 1 copy of Offensive Plug-in A. It gives one of your Digimon security attack +1 for the turn. Because we have the ability to unsuspend with EX2 Sakuyamon, it just feels appropriate to run at least 1 copy of the Offensive Plug-in A because you can swing in for your 2 checks, unsuspend, return this to your hand, and get 2 more checks. Security reveal top 3 of your deck, add a Tamer to your hand, the rest go bottom, and then add this to your hand. We have 1 copy of the Yellow Scramble. We can use this for free. It does reduce our Evo by 3, and then if your opponent has a Digimon, you get to delay at the start of your turn, return a yellow Digimon card from trash to top deck, and if you don't have a Digimon in play, you play 1 yellow Digimon card with 2k DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. So this is another way to put a rookie into play if you don't have anything, and then make a warp play with your Rika during your turn. And then security effect is going to let you play a yellow Digimon with 2k or less from the trash without paying the cost. Then this goes to hand. So this is another card that just allows you to extend your board presence if your board is broken. Next, we have 2 copies of Pause Plug-in P. I really like this plugin in this deck. It gives, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -6k, and their when Digivolving effects don't activate. That part of the effect is really, really powerful. It's really easy to dole out -12k to an opponent's Digimon, and then they don't get when Digivolving effects if you hit it something smaller with it and you don't completely delete their Digimon. Security will also give -6k, and then this goes to hand. Lastly, 2 copies of Physical Training. It's a partial search package, but it's basically free value when you use it with a Sakuyamon or any of your Taomons. For our Tamers, 2 copies of the BT17 Rika. Start of main if your opponent has a Digimon, gain a memory. And then main, you can place this, a Kyubimon, a Taomon, from your trash under one of your Renamon, and then it evos into Sakuyamon for 4. And then if this Digivolves, you return an option from trash to hand. So you get to warp into Sakuyamon for 4 and get an option back. 3 copies of Rika from EX2. If you have 2 memory or less, set it to 3, and then when you attack with a Renamon, Kyubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon, you get to suspend this Tamer to use an option with plugin in its name from your hand without paying the memory cost. So this is a great way to cheat out your plugins. So that is it for my Sakuyamon deck profile for the LM set. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, this option pool is really, really subjective. I think you can play around with it quite a bit. I think scrambles are really good in this deck, and there's a lot of room for skill expression and some different builds. So again, let me know what you guys are doing in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Thank you to our YouTube members for supporting this channel. It's people like Langlong, Big Z11, and Coffee Deus who make videos like this possible.